divided into, you can say, theory of public revenue, theory of public expenditure, the financial administration of government. Basically, those are the three things that public finance deals with: how government revenue is made, how the revenue
mm,
is expensed, that's expenditure, and
mm,
financial administration. Do you understand? So let's look at the first one, the theory of public revenue. This aspect deals with alternative sources of government revenue, taxation, non-tax revenue, public debt, and creation of additional currency notes and coins. So public revenue basically talks about, when we started, we said public, anything that has to do with activities of the government, public
mm,
finance, with activities of the government. So when we now talk about public revenue, it specifically deals with or talks about how governments at all levels raise or generate their revenue. When I mean at all level, I'm talking about the local government, government at the subnational, that's the state level, and federal government, that's government at the center. So
mm,
how is their revenue being generated?
mm,
That's, and we have different sources. We are still going to look at that. We have taxation source of revenue. We have
mm,
non-taxation revenue, like the oil revenue from oil and gas, and other
mm,
sources of revenue. Then the second one, we have the theory of public expenditure. This, however, talks about how government expenditure influences financial flow in the economy, and how
mm,
public expenditure serves as a tool for implementing growth, welfare, and other policies of government. This is also very key areas of public finance, government expenditure. How does the government, allocate resources to different
okay.
aspects of the economy? How is resources being spent? How is it monitored? How is government ensuring that its expenditures are in line with the budget? How
Mm,
is the government expenditure affecting the populace? Is it bringing development? Is it
mm,
bringing the otherwise? So this theory looks at public expenditure, that is in layman's language, government expenditure at all levels as well. Then we have
mm,
financial administration. This is also another area of public finance. How government financial actions or activity, how it has implications on its economic policies, like implication on economic growth and development.
mm,
So how then that's about financial administration, how government execute its
mm,
government its policies and related other related matters. For
okay.
example, budgetary policy, revenue policy, all of this, expenditure policy, procurement policies, all of this still under financial administration. Then the next one is stabilization, growth, and distributive justice. This is also another aspect of public finance to ensure stabilization, to ensure economic growth, and to ensure distributive justice. That is to ensure fair distribution of economic resources, fair
Mm,
distribution of economic resources among all the sectors in the economy:
mm,
education, health, mineral resources, which
mm,
other, the rest of them,
mm,
all of them, to ensure equity and fairness in allocation of resources. Then we have federal finance. These are analysis of issues and problems relating to the intergovernmental financial flows, where multi-level or federal system of government exists. So this is just talking about federalism. You know
mm.
what federalism is all about, where we have
Federalism.
operating units, whereby we have a government at the center, then we have
Mm,
government at the subnationals, in the sense that
mm, mm,
resources are now distributed amongst these three levels of government: the government at the federal level,
mm,
the state level, and the local government level.
mm,
So that's all about that aspect of what's it called, public finance. Now let's look at government revenue. We are taking it one after the other now. Government
okay.
revenue. Now government exists in every society to perform a number of functions which are critical to the general well-being of the people. Let's look at some of those functions: provision of legal framework and social environment conducive to
Mm,
the effective operation of price system, creation and maintenance of social and economic infrastructure, creation of roads, capital projects. You understand now? These are the
mm,
functions
mm. Functions of
of
government.
revenue. Yes. How do they expense this revenue? The government revenue that they've earned, how do they spend it? Can use it in provision of legal framework and social environment conducive to the effective operation of the price system. That's one. Creation and maintenance of social and economic infrastructure. What are the social and economic infrastructure? Roads, bridges, electricity, talking about infrastructure,
Mm,
physical infrastructure, economic infrastructure, and social infrastructure. All of these are being made possible through government revenue. We have pipe-borne water, sanitation. They are called public goods or social overheads. The next one is the redistribution of income. Redistribution of income through direct transfer payment or welfare programs for the vulnerable members of the society. This is also one of the ways in which government, ensure that incomes are, redistributed through government revenue. In the sense that, like this one that our federal government is currently doing, or the last administration did, they say, what they call it now? Uh, there's a name they gave it now. I've forgotten now. It's a 10,000 conditional cash transfer. I don't know if you heard about it.
okay.
Conditional
Ah,
cash
the
transfer.
conditional cash transfer.
Yeah,
No.
they give it to the poor. They say the poorest of the poor. All of this is just to ensure that income is redistributed. Then the next one we have reallocation of resources. Reallocation of resources. Then lastly we have promotion of macroeconomic objectives. Promotion of macroeconomic objectives. These are the can say function of critical reason why government spend their revenue or
And
expend
yeah.
or the function of government revenue. Reason why government the function of government revenue, let's just put it like that, or how government revenue affects the
Being spent.
economy of the nations. Yes.
Mm,
Then let's look at sources of government revenue. We look at the function now. Function is what this revenue is being used for,
oh,
right? What we
yes.
can use it for. We can use it
Also,
to provide.
yes. Can we also classify them as the government's expenditure or
Yes, yes,
government
yes, yes.
expenditures?
Yes, you can say, mm,
Okay.
can we
These
say
are
it's
the
government?
government.
We
I
can
mean,
just say these are ways in which government spend their revenue. However, it
revenue.
is classified as a function of government revenue because
Mm,
we are still coming back to government expenditure during the course of the lecture. We are still going to look at government expenditure, but let's just put it like function of government.
okay.
That is what government revenue does. What does the government
Okay.
use their revenue for? They can use it to reallocate resources, provision of
Mm,
social
mm,
and
mm,
economic infrastructure,
mm,
promotion of macroeconomic objectives. For example,
example.
what kind of example is macroeconomic objective? Let me ask you.
Okay.
From that micro and
Macro.
micro analysis that we did.
Okay. That's macroeconomic objectives.
Yes, to promote what can you say about that last point? Promotion of macroeconomic objectives.
That's government's plans, as in for, let me say, there is a promotion of the plans of the government for the
Yes.
nation as a whole.
Yes, and for the aggregate, yes. Aggregate, or let me just say the
Yeah.
nation in aggregate
Yeah.
or as a whole. For example, if government decide now that they want to ensure that they reduce unemployment level or the rate of unemployment and begin to give people empower jobs. I don't know if you heard about empower. It's also
Yeah.
it's part of the
Empower.
macroeconomic objective of government. Yes,
Okay.
at least to reduce
The
the unemployment rate.
employment.
Yes. So let's look at sources of government revenue. This one is what I think I've seen this kind of question in the fill in the gap part of the exams. So we don't need to overlook it. So let's look at sources of government revenue. We have two sources rather. Like I said earlier, we have number one, tax revenue, and number two, non-tax revenue. non-tax revenue. So tax revenue are those revenue that came in through direct or indirect taxes. Through direct or indirect taxes.
mm,
Taxes, that is revenue that is generated from taxation.
mm,
Are you with me? And we have
mm,
different forms of them, different types. Under tax revenue, we have direct taxes and indirect taxes. We are still coming back to that. So let's look at non-tax revenue. That is, these are sources of non-tax revenue